Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of this week's episode of The Originals. This week we've seen Season 3, Episode 14, entitled A Streetcar Named Desire. And again, another late upload, but that's kind of the case with my work schedule and stuff. But anyway, fuck that. We're going to talk about how great this episode was. I highly enjoyed this one, if you guys can't tell already. I really did like the start to the crossover event we had on Friday with, the Vampire Diaries episode and how it tied into this one. As much as I did enjoy that episode, this one exceeded it. This had to be one of, if not the best episode of the originals this season, I think. And it was great seeing Stefan on here as well and how they brought that in, from where it started in the Vampire Diaries episode. But the originals just really showed its superiority again. When it's doing something like this, they just have a much more well-written and complex and interesting show, I think, and they proved it here. But I think you can still enjoy both shows for what they are. You just gotta accept that they're about very different types of characters, with very different and very varying lengths as far as history goes and stuff. So really it's a given that the originals would be more complex than the Vampire Diaries, but still. Anyway, we had a lot going on. It honestly felt like it could have been a type of finale in a way, or at least like another great mid-season type of thing, I thought. We actually got a lot of storylines, or at least a storyline that was actually concluded in this episode, which I was pretty happy with, of course, with the Aurora and Tristan thing, as far as we know anyway. We also had pretty much the end to the whole Aya and Strix type thing, really, I think. Or at least the Aya thing. And we got more about the prophecy as well as Davina and Cole. We got some really key development of that. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. And I'm not sure how long this review is going to be because, again, it's after 3 a.m. when I'm recording this, but I still want to get it out to you guys. Of course, I do have my notes as always. You know me. So much happened, I actually had to go on the side of the page like that. I did want to note the scene towards the beginning of the episode where Aurora is first able to see Tristan again, due to Aya, and the Strix being able to do that. And as much as I wanted to see Aurora dead in this episode, as much as I wanted to see Klaus finally get his hands on her, I will admit that this scene was actually a little bit touching. I actually kind of liked seeing them reunite Aurora and Tristan. I kind of believe that they do care about each other as siblings, at least. To a certain extent, anyway. Not quite like the Michelsons do, but, in their own way. I think, most likely. Yeah. Anyway. I did like Freya's bigger role in this episode. I thought she was actually used pretty well for the most part. And you guys know how much I've, been an advocate for more Freya. And while I really do want like a big storyline centered around her again at some point, I did think she was used pretty well in this episode and the events that were going on with it. And she was actually a badass in moments too, which is what I want. Just like Bonnie, I think they both need more due and stuff. They need more credit. Let's see. Of course, this continues from Stefan and Klaus reuniting, and Freya is sort of automatically suspicious of Stefan because, as the prophecy goes, one of the originals will fall by a friend, one by foe, one by family, and they've decided that the family part of it happened when Rebecca chose to let Elijah dagger her to kind of take her out of the equation. So that's kind of the family end of it as far as we know. But of course Freya fears that Stefan, being an old friend of Klaus's, he'll be the factor that contributes to that side of it. And, she doesn't really know Stefan like we do, but at the same time you can see why that would kind of be strangely fitting that an old friend would show up just as this prophecy is really hitting the fan. So I understood that. I like the joke of Klaus bringing up how Elijah once said that he wants Aurora's head as a footstool. And then Klaus says, "Why wait?" So I thought that was pretty funny. Again, I did kind of feel for Aurora at the beginning to a certain extent, but, like most of us, I just want to see that bitch dead. Or at least, sent to suffer for an eternity, which is kind of what we got at the end. But we'll talk about that when the time comes. My cat's actually asleep right now, so that's a good thing. Hopefully this clears up in a second. Right? Yep. Back to the expected webcam quality right now. Let's see. Oh yeah, of course, and Freya also did help Stefan with his Rain of Cruise problem, at least temporarily. She put like this, I forget what it's called, but this type of mix of herbs and stuff over the mark that he had, which wouldn't like cure him of it or anything, as she said, but would at least like mask him temporarily. So she'd at least be off his trail for a little while. And I kind of liked how Freya was just like ranting on and on about all the goings on of the Michelsons and all their issues. Stefan asking what's going on, and it kind of just turned into this whole. Yeah, watch the last 3 seasons, man. Let's see. Lucian is found. He's, at first I thought he was just dead, laying there, but he's near dead, and they feed him, and he becomes like a part of the rescue plan, sort of. But we'll see. Klaus and Elijah end up being trapped, and they're in the head with Tristan and Aurora. And she says just because they can't be hurt in this world doesn't mean she still can't hurt them in another way. And she brings up, how's Cammy doing? And the path Cammy's been on lately, so that kind of hits a chord with Klaus. Let's see. Of course, Marcel, Hayley, and Lucian are trying to make a plan, because if even one of them is killed, if Klaus is killed, his whole sire line dies. Which would include Marcel. That would include quite a few other characters too, and then Elijah. Means something for a lot of other ones too. And then of course these characters are actually invested in them as people too, which is something that Aurora tries to play on, saying how no one actually cares about Klaus. They just kind of see him as like an eternal burden or something like that. Yeah, that's what she says. But we've seen how it's been tested before, but Aurora trying to pick out every little thing, and it is still kind of a question sometimes, with how, on the other side people get with Klaus. Sometimes it is kind of debatable. It does make you think a little bit, I think. And Klaus has deserved some of that backlash, of course, but I think it has been clear that Klaus has become a better person. Let's see. Stefan ends up helping out a lot with the plan to rescue Klaus and Elijah. And, Lucian sort of knocks on him for being, so much younger than him, and, what use is he going to be? And, Stefan sort of makes fun of it, how expensive his shoes are, basically saying how he's like a stuck-up ass. That's kind of what it meant. So I did really like Stefan in this episode too, I know people got a little bit tired of the whole Stefan, Elena, Damon thing, but I still think Stefan's a very good character, and in a way he did kind of fit into this, although the originals and Vampire Diaries do feel like different levels of shows, they do still fit into the same universe well when it comes down to it, and I think Stefan really works on the originals. Because he does have a certain, class about him too, I think, so he kind of fits. An intelligence and the way he carries himself most of the time. Let's see. Talked about Aurora calling Klaus and the eternal burden. I said Stefan and Lucian kind of going at it a little bit. Freya comes in, she decides she's going to channel Lucian and she just like snaps Lucian's neck, and I thought that was hilarious. I'm afraid I just don't want to hear any more of his shit. Just that was one of the baddest Freya moments I was talking about in this episode. I enjoyed that thoroughly. I really do hope Freya's like a series-long character. I do hope she's around for the whole series. I think she should just get more and more important as it goes and become more and more relevant, which she really was, but now she's starting to pick up a little bit again, which I'm happy about. Because I just don't want to see her like killed off in like this season or the next, sort of like Jackson. I'd rather see her more as like a key, for the rest of the show. I think that'd be great. I guess I could probably make a whole video talking about Freya if I wanted to. Plus the actress just does so well, I probably wouldn't care as much about her if she wasn't, played so well by Riley. I think she just does a great job. Let's see. I sort of like Stefan and Marcel working together too, because of course Marcel is going to sneak Hayley and Stefan in. It's like Stefan's idea to sort of go through the front door, not make this whole like discreet plan to go in through somewhere else, or make this whole elaborate thing on how to get in there or something. So yeah, the simpler idea of the Vampire Diaries sort of comes in handy here. Stefan's able to come up with that. I don't know if what I just said fully makes sense, but again, it is what it is. It's after 3 a.m. again. Let's see. I did really like the scenes between Stefan and Hayley in this episode too. As they're sort of in the trunk as Marcel's driving along, they talk about the various perspectives they've came from, what they're really fighting for, and I saw that was actually really well acted by both Paul Wesley and Phoebe Tonkin, who are actually a couple in real life, so I guess the chemistry between them makes sense. And Stefan shows a picture of Caroline on his phone, and Hayley recalls the time I think I snapped her neck once. And Stefan says, yeah, she's stronger now. I don't know if he'd want to go for a round 2 or something along those lines. I do like Stefan. I care about what he cares about to a certain extent. But as far as Hayley and Caroline round 2 would go, sorry, Stefan, but Hayley probably kick her ass again if they really wanted to be realistic about it. But I did like their bonding here, and Hayley sort of talks about her baby, and I kind of would have liked to have heard more of like what Stefan thought about Klaus having a child and how Klaus cares for Hope. I think that would have been interesting to hear Stefan's thoughts on. But I just think it's there. He just didn't really talk about it too much. Stefan sees it though, I think. Stefan's pretty damn perceptive for such a young vamp, right? Let's see what else. He likes seeing all my hair. Maybe I should just hold it up so I don't bow my head all the time in the video. Let's see. Elijah is able to start picking at Aurora and Twisting. What am I doing? Elijah is able to start picking at Aurora and Tristan, sort of comparing Aurora to like a bratty sister that Tristan's sort of obligated to deal with. And that really did strike a chord with Aurora. Aurora is someone that talks a big game, but she's really, really insecure and vulnerable herself, no matter the type of act she puts up. And Elijah really cut her there, which is actually seems to be pretty easy to do. And Eliza's I'm sorry, guys. Elijah's an intellectual, so he really knows how to go for it there. I liked and disliked the scene between Davina and Marcel talking about Klaus. How Davina is willing to sacrifice Klaus to get through to what she wants. And, her saying, why is he still around you? Everything he's done, why do you need him? And it really plays on how deeply Marcel's bond actually is to Klaus, I thought. So I really think it was a well-acted scene, well-written and everything, but Davina, she's just frustrating. I don't like her. She's sort of like the Caroline of the originals to me, if I had to put it that way. But she is actually important in certain stories, unlike Caroline. So I'll give her that at least. But I do find her continually frustrating, and I honestly did want her to die in this episode. So I sort of get her perspective on Klaus, but she's sort of just taking it too far, making it seem more and more petty as it goes along. So it does bug me. Reyna approaching, I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that she still managed to track Stefan down. As Stefan seen earlier, the mark was starting to wear off, so he sort of knew what was coming. But I was excited to see the Reyna dynamic brought into this whole House of the Strix and stuff like that, to see her just really shake shit up. Because apparently she's a legend all over the place, and she used to terrorize New Orleans and stuff, at least as far as the vampires go. So I kind of like to see all the panic with that. And we'll get into that in a minute. I also love the shot of her, like charging, at the gate and just, with the sword, just like taking it down all those guard vampires. We didn't see all of it, but it still got me excited though. Let's see. We see Freya, channeling Lucian, and Lucian's being pretty flirty with her, and Freya seemed to be brushing him off, but she seemed to also be somewhat receptive, and I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I really want to see them hooking up at all. I hope Freya just brushes him off and stabs his neck again. But Freya, I think she's going to be around for a while. Lucian, I will be extremely surprised if he makes out this season. So I don't think I have to worry about it too much. Of course, the process begins, or the ritual they're doing. Klaus and Elijah's throats are slit, and so, like I said, the process is beginning. Reyna shows up, and her and Aya and the rest of some of our Aya's men go to fight Reyna, and even Aya recognized Reyna. I wish we would have seen some of the fight, but I was still getting excited over the fact that Reyna was there, adding that rush of danger and like an extra threat out there. I thought that was really well handled despite not even seeing it. It seemed like Reyna was pretty much able to take on all of them, even though we didn't see it. Aya gets away, but she's actually marked, so Reyna definitely cut her at least, and probably knocked her around a little bit back and forth too, I'm guessing. Of course, Elijah is actually freed, that they're trying to break the link, so that they won't have to rely on their sires anymore, and they could just do without them. They don't have to worry about, their lives, they could just focus on theirs. And Elijah, the process is broken with him, so Aya and, whoever he sired are still going to need to rely on his survival to survive themselves. But Davina stops Marcel from helping out Klaus in the same way, because she just wants Klaus to die, and that was really annoying to me. Let's see, what did I even write here? Oh yeah, queens are key. And, as Klaus and Elijah were stuck in that thing with Aurora and Tristan, the idea was that there's a certain, item or, object that represents both Klaus and Elijah, and they had to figure that out in order to break through. And when Freya sort of came in to try and, pull them out with the help of Marcel and stuff on the other side, it turned out that the queens on the chess game were actually the key to it. Like the women, they've basically just screwed over and stuff like that. Of course, that would make sense coming from Aurora. Again, pretty petty. Let's see. And it's really immature and bratty too, as I've talked about before. But of course, with Davina's assistance, she was actually able to break the sire line with Klaus. And for a second, it seemed like Klaus was actually dead. And although in my mind I know, okay, they're not going to kill off Klaus. They're really not going to kill off one of the main originals, because the show is called The Originals. It started because of the popularity of the Klaus character, so I know they're not really going to kill him. But I'll admit, I was worried for a second. My body was tense in that moment, and I was probably ready to cry. I'll be honest. I don't think I can see Klaus die and make it through. Well, of course, Klaus is alive, but the link is actually broken, and I actually approve of that dynamic. Because I like the fact that it sort of gives us the idea that, this character is more at risk now. People aren't necessarily going to try and keep him alive as often anymore. It'll be because they care about him, not because they just want to keep themselves alive, so that kind of leaves them more open for threats and stuff, I think, or less help when the threats do come up anyway. So I do like the idea of that. Although I wish Elijah's link was broken too. I get how they can't do that for like every side of it. They kind of just want to have it for that one part. But I do think it could be an interesting dynamic going forward. We'll see Klaus's reaction, no longer having that sort of security, because he had that security all the way back in Mystic Falls too. That once he realized he couldn't kill Klaus because he was tied to a bunch of them, and now he's not. So I'm really liking that change, and I think it's going to be really interesting. Even if I don't believe Klaus is ever going to die, it's still going to be a cool threat for the story, I think. I think we'll do it pretty well. Let's see. We get a great scene between Elijah and Aya here. They really just talk about how they could have done this and that, and Elijah, he still deeply cares about her. And I can't remember all the details of their conversation now because it's, again, approaching 3:30 in the morning. But just great acting from Daniel Gillies and the actress who played Aya here, I thought. And it looks like Elijah's going to shoot her with that gun with the white oak. But of course, Hayley has to come up and kill Aya herself out of sort of like a vengeance for Jackson's heart being taken and things of that nature, or her being connected to the Strix who killed Jackson in the first place, or Tristan anyway. I really think that kill should have belonged to Elijah, if anyone. And it seemed like he was like hesitating to do it. He did put the gun down and stuff, or he did like lower it, but still Hayley butting in did kind of mess with the scene a little bit. But the scene itself was really great leading up to that, I thought. And he did feel what their bond once was, and I think they just showed that really well. Even though we never seen a lot of it, I think they still did that. They handled it greatly in the end. And I was honestly surprised to sort of see him like wrap up the Aya side of things, on episode 14 of season 3 out of 22 episodes. So I'm happy with that pace. It's cool. Let's see, just a little bit more, guys. Don't worry. And it's good that this review is actually a little bit longer, and it's not because of my cat at the door. So at least I'm actually talking through this whole thing and not having like a 2-minute awkward pause or something. We also see, Klaus, he actually seals Aurora in one of the, in the cemetery. He seals her in one of the chambers there. I'm probably saying that the wrong way, but you guys know what I mean. Of course, that's a fate worse than death, because if Aurora was killed, that would, I'm not going to explain this the right way. But, basically it would bring Tristan a sword of peace too, and, Klaus didn't want to give that to them. And he also wanted Aurora to suffer as much as possible. And yes, I would have loved to have seen Aurora just get killed. That would have been really satisfying too, but I get the idea of Aurora suffering, forever on, and, with her brother, and, never knowing, never having that sense of, okay, we're both going to be at peace now, it's over. So she's just going to be doomed forever. And do I think they're going to bring the Aurora character back or anything? They could. It's obviously open now if she's just, locked away in there. But, she's not Catherine or anything like that, so I think they could probably just leave her there and just have her, rot away, as Klaus described. So I'm satisfied with that. I'll take it. Even though I would have loved to have seen Aurora get like a violent Game of Thrones death, I'll take this too. Davina's pissed at Marcel for, sort of still trying to help out Klaus and Elijah and the rest of them instead of, siding with her. And I think Marcel put it perfectly here, that he does care about Davina, but, her ideas or like her goals aren't worth everything else that it causes, basically. And I thought he was right on point there. And of course, Davina is still now pushing him away. I also like the goodbye between Klaus and Stefan. So I'm promising to take or sort of do right by Caroline. Because he does know that Klaus did have feelings for her. And I did like the handshake between the two. I do think they have a good bond. Great acting between Paul Wesley and Joseph Morgan. I'm really happy they did this crossover thing. I really just love being reminded that these shows are in the same universe, and the characters have such a long, well-written history. I absolutely love their scenes together. And Klaus is weakened because of the blood type thing. And, so Davina actually managed to bring Cole back. And I'm kind of happy about this, to be honest. I'm glad it's at least the original actor again, as they've been showing. So I approve of that. I'm interested to see what actually happens with it. But is Cole going to be like a character that we're going to see like for a season or two now? I'm not sure. They could like have like some weird twist with it and have him gone by the end of the season again. But I think it actually would be interesting to sort of keep him around like they have Freya and sort of see how that will mix in with the other characters. But we'll see what happens. I have a feeling there's going to be more of a kicker to this, but we'll see where it goes. But so there's my review for the originals this week. Again, late as always. Lately, but I apologize. Work, still enjoy the show when I'm able to watch it, though, when I do a video review when I am able, for you guys and for myself. I do love talking about it. And before I start sounding more repetitive than I already am, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Really, it's turning into a good season of the originals. I still don't think it's as good as the first two, but this is a great episode and probably the best of the season, along with maybe episode 9. But yeah, I really have faith in where they're going for the rest of the season too, and it just really proved how still well done of a show it is with this. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the show too. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Movie Pilot, and look for InSpoiled.com. Catch you guys next time, and peace.